Hello, everyone, and welcome to Evolve Yourself TV. I'm Agni James, and tonight we will be doing a peaceful guided meditation. Something that we all could use a little more of in our life, a little more peace and tranquility. So, how's everyone doing tonight? It is 9:41 p.m. Chicago time. Hey, we got Victor Sawyer. Hey, good to see you, friend. How's it going, man? How are you? It was great seeing you yesterday, and then you came along for the one sluggy raid, man. That was cool. When a streamer doesn't have many viewers, he always appreciates like a good amount coming in. So that was cool that we were able to share that with him last night. And JT Farms, hey, good to see you. How is my channel Shaman doing? Our Twitch's #1 moderator and channel shaman or shawoman, however you wanna say it. Good to see you all. So, yeah, I did another really good Bikram yoga class tonight. And the thing about the instructor that teaches on Tuesday nights is that she never goes easy on the class. And that it turns off a lot of people, but I actually like it. I like the fact that when you go in there, you know exactly what you're going to expect. She's not gonna have you come out of postures early. She's gonna make you do the whole thing, make you do it by the book. And it's just such a good workout. It's like such an incredible workout because it's so hard, right? And some people are down on her about it, but I like that. I don't mind working hard in life if what I'm striving for is something that's going to benefit me. And I think that's something that's kind of lost nowadays. A lot of people just don't like the notion of hard work. They're like, well, let's not work hard. But if you can work hard, do what you can, and if it's going to benefit you, give it your all. Why not? Let's see. JT, you say dog threw up on the bed. Had to wash all the bedding. You don't enjoy doing the bedding. Yeah, that's not fun. That's ridiculous. It's like, come on, dog. Can you like throw up? Like I've been trying to teach my cat that if she's got to throw up, she should throw up either on the bathroom floor because it's easy to clean up, or the kitchen floor, right? Not on the carpet. But like trying to train an animal where to vomit is very difficult. I don't know if it can even be done. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think in chat? Is it possible to train an animal to only vomit in certain locations? I don't know. I guess maybe it depends what kind of animal, right? I need some water. I'm dehydrated here. That's right, Victor Sore. You got a cat, man. That's cool. Yeah, we both got cats. Cats are pretty good pets to have. They don't require much. They don't require a tremendous amount of maintenance, and yet they still they show a lot of affection, and they're there, and they're pretty cool animals. Assuming you don't get like one of those cats that just like hides under the bed all day. Sometimes there's those cats that like they never come out. They spend 22 out of 24 hours every day just like hiding under the bed, and then they'll come out to like eat and use the litter box like once or twice, and that's it. Like that's their life. Like what kind of life is that? And then what kind of life is that for the people that live with those kind of cats, right? Like, is that fun? Is that like a really good relationship? It's like you ask the cat, "Whoa, what do you do today?" I just lied under the bed all day and hid. It's like is that fun? I don't know. JD Farms, you say, right? You don't know if vomit training is possible. Yeah, right. I mean, we got to get our animals trained such that they. Or how about this? What if we trained our animals to only vomit in the toilet? Think about how amazing that would be. It would make it would make owning a pet way easier and more pleasant. Assuming you have a cat that likes to cough up hairballs and throw up all the time. All right, where are we at here in chat? Let's see. I think I got everything so far. Yeah, I mean, doing the bedding is a pain, JT. I know what you're saying. Like, it's one thing to do a load of laundry, but to like have to like take off everything, all the bedding and do all that stuff. It takes forever. It's a pain. Things are gonna come out of the dryer wet, and you're gonna have to like shake them out and throw them back in, or you have to hang them up. I don't know. Everyone's got their own system when they have to clean all their bedding of how they do it. Some people are really like just spontaneous. They're like, oh, I feel like cleaning my sheet now, or like I feel like washing my pillowcases now, or you know what? When's the last time I've washed the comforter, right? And then some people are very methodical, and they're like, okay, I'm going to do it on the third Monday of every month at exactly this time, and then it's going to be taken care of. I used to be a lot more methodical in my cleaning regimen. I would have like certain days and certain things that I would accomplish on each day, and it's like it makes for a pretty smooth running machine. Your place is always spotless, everything's always in order, but then at the same time you lose a little bit of freedom in the sense that you're always having to do these things. You're always having to you're not allowing for like new possibilities and new things to come into the picture because you're so set in doing things in a rigid way. I don't know. It's each mode of living has its own benefits and positives and negatives. Let's see where else we at. Victor, so you say you don't think it's possible your cat vomits wherever he wants. You have a really dog-like cat. Ooh, Norwegian forest cat. That's pretty cool. A Norwegian forest cat. His name is Surya. Nice. Sanskrit for sun. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah. A Norwegian forest cat. I don't know. I know much about Norwegian forest cats, but it sounds like a bigger, stronger creature. Something that's like more I don't know. I just that's like what I envisioned. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be like a cat that's like this big, but like I just feel like a Norwegian something that sounds like that. A Norwegian forest cat has got to be like a strong, hulking animal. Victor, so you say thanks. He's a beautiful cat. Yeah, dude, share a pic. Share a pic. I'd love to see the cat. I should make a section actually on my Discord for animals. That would be cool too. Some people do that, and then you could just share pictures of your animals, or like if they do something really weird, you could like share a story about that, right? I don't know. Animals are great, but yeah, it can be exhausting to deal with them. JT. Let's see, JT say you're never on schedule. Everything just happens out of order, so you just got to go with the flow. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what I've been doing more these days. I've been just trying to go more with the flow and just allowing like for instance, my streaming. I don't have a set streaming schedule. I just stream whenever I feel inspired to do so. And there's pros and cons to that, right? People who want to watch my streams for meditations and want to watch them live, it makes it very difficult for those people because they don't know when I'm going to be streaming. Another thing is, like I don't know when I'm going to stream, so sometimes I don't stream as often, right? But if I had a set schedule, it would be better in some ways. But at the same time, then I would have to come out when I don't feel like streaming, and I'd have to just kind of throw it together and stream. And I don't want to do that. I feel like my best streams come when I actually feel inspired to help others, by the tool of meditation. And when I'm just out here and I don't want to be here, then it's not the same. Let's see. JT, you're asking Victor Sor about the Norwegian forest cats, the beautiful long fur. Victor Sor, he is big and strong, 15 pounds. Wow. All right, so you got a big cat. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. It's because if you think about what we've done to like a lot of dogs and cats, throughout the years, just through selective breeding, right? Cats and dogs are like these tiny little things now, right? Like, I mean, not all dogs, obviously, but like, I mean, cats are like lions. They're like the descendants of lions and tigers, right? They should be like ferocious beasts. And same with dogs, right? They're wolves. Dogs come from wolves. And now we have like people just putting their dog in their purse and like calling it a day, right? I don't know. That's just my take on it, but it's nice to see like a big strong cat every now and then. One that actually could hold its own if it was out in the forest or something like that. Let's see. Just posted old pics of him in the introduction channel. Cool, awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out. I'll check that out later. Thank you, man. Thank you. Let's see. But he's nice to cuddle with. Yeah, and that's the other thing about a big cat. Yeah, they're going to be, like when you pick it up, the thing's not just going to be like on this area of your shoulder. It's going to be like going down, draped over your whole arm. That's pretty cool, right? To have like a beast like draped down your arm and shoulder. I mean, that's a cool sized cat, right? I think the biggest cat I ever had was like 10 pounds. 15 pounds is serious. That's like a cat that deserves some respect. That cat's out in the wild. No squirrel's gonna mess with it. No chipmunk's gonna go near it. I mean, that's a cat that can hold its own. He's a sweet, fluffy, beautiful, natural-born killer that you cannot let outside because the small animals have no choice. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was just saying. Right? Yeah, he can hold his own, right? That cat's gonna be like it's like a serious force, right? He's the best. He wants to cuddle next to your face, but it's super adorable. Yeah, dude, that's good, man. That's a good deal, dude. JT, you're saying your cat needs to come. Oh, you're talking to Victor. Sorry, your cat needs to come teach your Kit Kat how to hunt. She's so princessy. It's funny how some cats know how to hunt and they can fight, and their instincts, their primal instincts are still there. And then some cats have gotten like so princessy, right? Um, I like for a while I was taking my cat over to my friend's place, and I was putting my cat in the same area as her dog, and that created a really interesting dynamic. Like I feel like my cat toughened up a lot when she went through that experience. Like bringing her into a new environment, and then like having to deal with a dog on top of it. That's like just wants to like run at her and stuff. Like that's intense, right? And like my cat grew a lot. She grew a lot during that time. She's like a stronger cat now. But now that she hasn't been over there in a while, I think she's starting to revert back to her more weakish ways. Let's see. Victor, so you say he's such a gentle giant, never bites or scratches. Yeah. Well, you know what? He doesn't need to. And I forget who it was, famous poet or philosopher. Someone said the strongest, the strongest, the person with the most power is the one who has all the strength in the world and doesn't have to use it. And there's some truth to that, right? If you're like a 15-pound cat, I mean, not many creatures are going to come mess with you, right? So you just kind of walk around, and people will just kind of typically leave you alone, and other animals. And if an animal is dumb enough to mess with it, then I'm sure he will show his force, right? Let's see, JT, you say Kit Kat can kick a dog's butt when she want. Oh, but she won't hurt mice. So she'll go after the dogs, but she won't go after the mice. Now that's kind of interesting. That's interesting to think about. Um, I wonder why that's the case. Why do you think she won't go after the mice? So, because I had a mouse in my place, and my cat actually did go after it, and she did a damn good job hunting it down. She trapped it in the corner under the pantry, so I was actually able to get at it. Excuse me, but like yeah, like I don't know. I wonder why she didn't go after the mice. All right. Well, maybe we should just jump into some meditation. Maybe we shouldn't mess around anymore. Oh, because she wants to be the top dog. LL. Yeah. Well, that's right. You said you have a whole hierarchy, like with your dogs and your cat, right? And your cat is like at the top. She's like the alpha of the hierarchy, right? And then like maybe one of the dogs is next, right? So where do the fish fit in that hierarchy? I'm sure like there's different relations. There's different dominance relations between the individual fish. I wonder how like the cat and the dogs view the fish. Like are they looking at that as an animal that they could just like dominate and take over, or is that just or do the dogs even care that there's such a thing as a fish? Do they even know? Does the dog even know like what it is? It's good. All right, let's do some meditation. I think it's time to do some meditation. JT, you say the fish are non-conformist. They choose to be a part of the hierarchy. Okay, all right. Yeah, I see. I've never had. Oh, they're not conformists. They choose to be a part. It's interesting. I've never had any elaborate fish really. I've had like goldfish. Like when you're a kid, like sometimes your parents will give you a goldfish, and it's like, oh wow, I have this goldfish now, and then it like dies like a week later, and you're never really impressed. You're like, well, like what was that? I mean, I couldn't pet this creature. Like it just like kind of like moped around and then died in a week. Like, but like you have the elaborate fish. You have the fish that have like unique personalities, and the way you group them in different tanks and things like that, like it's interesting. It's interesting that you can only put certain fish with other fish, and you have to like mix it up like where the fish go, and over time things can change, and there's different hierarchies, and when one fish dies, like everything goes into chaos sometimes. That's like an interesting dynamic. You really have to be fluid, right? You have to be like water when you're navigating that kind of relationship, right? All right. So I always come out here. I'm intense. Have a lot of energy. You said they're like dogs. So much fissionality. Yeah, it's true. Fissionality. And then it's time to meditate. So take a few slow, deep breaths on your own, and come into a nice, comfortable seated position. You can sit on the floor in lotus pose. You can sit cross-legged, or you can sit in a chair. The main thing is to find a position that is comfortable for you. And then gently close your eyes, taking a few slow, deep breaths on your own. I have a Buddhist chant that I play that has a chime that rings every 2 seconds. And you can use that to help regulate your breath count. Take a few more slow, deep breaths on your own while maintaining good posture. Inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. Exhale through your mouth, gently lowering your belly. Breathe in through your nose, slowly raising your abdomen. Breathe out through your mouth, slowly lowering your abdomen. Focus on your breath. Inhale, raising your belly. Exhale, relaxing your belly. Breathe in, gently raising your abdomen. Breathe out, slowly lowering your abdomen. Keep your awareness on your breath count. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. The breath calms the body, and the body calms the mind. Be mindful of your breath count. Visualize yourself sitting on the tallest mountaintop. Watching the clouds float through the sky beneath you. One cloud stretches apart, separating into two. And two clouds float together, merging as one. The clouds float through the sky before disappearing over the horizon. These clouds are like your thoughts. Thoughts come into being, exist for a while in conscious awareness, and then disappear from your mind. That is the nature of human thought. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all that is of no benefit to you. Focus on your breath count. When thoughts arise in your mind, visualize them as clouds floating through the sky before disappearing over the horizon. Returning your awareness to your breath count. Exhale, releasing all that is of no benefit to you. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all ego which hinders your development. Focus on your breath. When thoughts arise in your mind, visualize them as clouds moving through the sky before disappearing over the horizon. Gently return your awareness to your breath count. Your essence is love. Your love is manifested as light. Your purpose is to shine your light on others. Awakening the inner light within them. And they will shine their light on all whom they encounter. Until all of humanity is glowing radiantly as one once again. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all ego which obscures your third eye sight. Keep your awareness on your breath count. When thoughts arise in your mind, visualize them as clouds floating through the sky before disappearing over the horizon. And return your focus to your breath count. On your next breath, travel down beneath the level of conscious awareness. Go to the region of your heart chakra. Feel the love that emanates from this location. And the warmth which surrounds your love. In this place, opposites and polarities cannot enter. For this place is deemed eternally one. No separation or division can enter here. because that which is always one can never be two. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that is of no benefit to you. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all ego which blocks your third eye vision. Focus on your breath. Inhale. Exhale, traveling down deeper into perfect peace. Breathe in. Breathe out, going to the place of pure monism, focusing on your breath count. On your next breath, travel down all the way to your absolute center. The place where only pure love resides. In this place, you are one forever. In this place, joy and abundance are yours. stay here in this location for a while. Noticing any sensations that you may feel. And while you're here, look for the utmost center point. The conduit for all love and light. Stare deeply into this center point. And when you're ready, walk on through. I'll see you on the other side. At your center point, you remember your true identity. At your center, you remember how you came to be. At your center point, true nature unfolds. For here you remember your divine purpose. Give yourself permission to experience this unconditional love. Allow yourself to be free of anxiety and fear. Remembering that you are perfect just as you were created. you will always be a manifestation of that perfection. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that is of no benefit to you. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all ego which obscures your third eyesight. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all stress and tension from your body. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all stress and tension from your mind. Gently open your eyes, returning to the present moment, bringing with you the peace from this meditation throughout the remainder of your day. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here with me and sharing the sacred space with me. As always, I am honored and humbled to be here as your meditation guide. I hope you all feel more relaxed and peaceful and centered than you did prior to the meditation. And I hope you feel a little more love in your hearts. So how was that for everyone? How was that meditation? That was 34-ish minutes. About 34 minutes. That's a good time. Good amount of time for meditation. Hey, namaskar to you too, Victor Soar. Thank you for sticking around for the meditation. Much appreciated, brother. JT Farms, thank you as always. Your love and support are always incredibly appreciated. You're a wonderful, kind soul. And then, let's see, we had someone follow. EVM, let's try to pronounce this. I'm going to butcher it, but Evmopity. Okay, cool, man. Well, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm Agni James, and I run guided meditations on Twitch 3 times a week or so. I also do philosophy talks. I especially like philosophy of science, philosophy of mind, and metaphysics. And those are some other things I do. And I just talk about all sorts of stuff, you know. Any real world issues that people have, you know, I'm always down for a conversation, because there's a lot of things that we have questions about, right, in life. I mean, I pursued philosophy because I had so many questions, and I went and got my master's in philosophy because I wanted to try to increase my understanding. And then I studied, you know, religion on top of that, and science, and all those things to try to increase my understanding. And you know, you learn some things, and then it's like the old adage says, you know, the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know, right? So yeah, keep studying, you know, a certain subject, and eventually you'll realize you don't know anything about it. Or actually, I think the philosophical way of saying it is that even if you did know something about it, you would have no way of knowing that you are certain in your belief. Philosophy, I love it. I love philosophy. Does it make me crazy at times? Yeah. Does it make me redefine the way I think about everything in the world? Yeah. Does it cause me to change my foundational belief set over and over in order to try to get closer to the truth? Yes. Is it unnerving at times? Absolutely. Is it is it unsettling at times? Yeah, but that's okay. A lot of people don't like to change around their belief set, and instead they stick fast to whatever they believe in because they're afraid. They're afraid that if they start moving around and shuffling around the beliefs in their foundational belief set, that they're gonna kind of fall off into the abyss, and they're not gonna have anything to anchor them. And that's I guess I could see that. That's a legitimate concern, but at the end of the day, if you're not willing to supplant some beliefs that you have that are no longer serving you well with better ideas, then you're never going to progress and you're never going to evolve. So you're never going to evolve, and that's what this channel and this stream is all about, trying to increase our ability to move on and look past this dualistic framework into what truly matters in our hearts, and speak from there and live from there. All right, let's see. So where else were we in chat? Victor, so you've been practicing diaphragmatic breathing to intensify your meditations? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's great. That's good stuff. There's all sorts of awesome breathing techniques out there that help with meditations. There's box breathing, which is cool. That's the one where you inhale for a little while and then you pause for a little while and then you exhale for a little while and then you pause, right? That's one pretty cool type of breath work that's out there. Grace Yoga does that in her stream. She teaches that. Speaking of Grace, she teaches opposite nostril breathing as well, where you hold down one nostril and you close it for a while and you breathe in the other one. And then you exhale, you switch your fingers and you exhale throughout the other nostril. And then you breathe in and you exhale out the other nostril, in a rhythmic sense, right? Not just kind of throwing it together like that. And these are all tools that can help intensify meditations. It can help just kind of ground yourself, right? Because life gets pretty ungrounding at times, and those are good things to use. JT, you say you found that kind of breathing helps you focus on your breath a lot better. Yeah, absolutely, right? Definitely. And Victor, so you say, yeah, it lets me breathe a lot slower too. Dude, it totally does, man. That kind of stuff is great. There was a period of time where I was able to slow down my breathing to a breath and a half every minute. And that was pretty intense. That was intense. I was basically in such a deep meditative state. I was really able to slow down my breath super long, and they were just real slow deep breaths and real slow deep exhales. And that felt amazing. I felt super connected with everything, and it was pretty wonderful. And yes, breath work is really important. I think I just said the word super like 50 times. I don't know why. All right, I need to drink some water. Yeah, I feel a little dehydrated. I think I didn't hydrate enough. It's tough with yoga. I mean, when you go in a 105-degree room and you're working out and you're working hard, it's really tough to stay fully hydrated. Even though I load up on hydration prior to and after the session, it still can be rough. All right, let's see who we're gonna raid. I think we're at that time. Let's see who's out there. Oh, all right. Aristotle, my buddy. He's a. Oh, Aristotle. I was just about ready to raid you, man. What are you doing? I literally just said I'm gonna raid Aristotle, man. You beat me to the punch, dude. You beat me to the punch. All right. Well, thank you so much for the raid. Much appreciated. Those of you who don't know me, I am Agni James, and I stream philosophy. I stream guided meditations and philosophy on Twitch. Hey, Chief Strongjaw, thank you so much for the follow. Much appreciated. Super appreciated. Wow. Yeah, I stream meditations, and I also do philosophy talks. My areas of focus in philosophy are philosophy of mind, philosophy of science, and metaphysics. Those are the three areas I love. Lobby Gamer 81, super appreciated, man. Thanks for the follow. Totally awesome. We just finished up a deep meditation, and I was feeling pretty zenned out, and now I'm starting to feel a little more perky. Yeah, welcome everyone. So yeah, this is my chat, and it's good to see you all. Okay, so now, Aristotle, you say, oh, she didn't mean to ruin it. No, it's fine. Raid me anytime. It's just quite an interesting transition, right? To be like all zenned out and like, about ready to raid you, and then like all of a sudden everything, the energy shifts and everything's like different, right? And it's interesting. But by the way, how many people in here meditate or have tried meditation, right? You got a lot of people that just came over. I wonder how many people in your chat have done meditation of some sort. The cool thing about meditation is, I mean, it used to be considered very like nonsensical and very just there wasn't much science to back it up, but now there's like a lot of science that actually supports the fact that meditation is really healthy for you and can help a lot of ailments and can make you more peaceful, right? Thank you so much for the follow, Herbert Smithens. Much appreciated. Hey, this is great, by the way. I'm at 296 followers. I'm 4 from 300, so thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. I've been streaming a little over a year, and yeah, I'm approaching that milestone. That's always like a milestone that streamers look at for some reason, like the 200 and the 300 follower mark. So thank you all so much. Viper's gratitude. Hey, good to see you, friend. You say you meditate several pints at the pub every week. I like that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes that can be kind of meditative, actually. Let's see. Lobby Gamer 81. You say you need to meditate more, especially since it's finals time. Yeah, absolutely, definitely. That's actually one thing that I did when I was. So when I was in graduate school getting my master's in philosophy, I had to take what's called a comprehensive examination, and it consisted of we got 10 questions before summer break, and we got to choose what area that we wanted to take the test on. I chose philosophy of mind, so we got 10 questions, and then we had to write 10 perfect papers from those 10 questions over the summer, and then memorize all those papers. And it was a lot of content, right? Trying to memorize, 10 full papers was intense, right? And you had to be on point. You really couldn't miss anything, or else you wouldn't pass the test. And you only got to take it twice. And if you didn't pass on your second time, you were out of the program. So what I used to do is I used to meditate. Hey, Herbert Smithens, thank you so much for the subscription. Much appreciated, friend. Much appreciated, man. Wow, awesome. Yeah. So what I used to do I would do two things. I would always meditate right after I was finished studying. Like I would try to memorize those papers, and then I would meditate, and then I would meditate on those subjects, and then I would also record my voice actually reading my papers, and I would just put my earbuds in and go to sleep. Like listening to like the Language of Thought hypothesis by Jerry Fodor, or like some other weird stuff like weird philosophy of mind related stuff. So the Language of Thought hypothesis basically is the notion that that the brain has a syntactic and a syntax and a content component, basically. In which you process information, and it basically, our minds are computers. That's the idea. That's like the general idea of it. But yeah, so I used to do that, and I think meditation did help me remember everything better, and just it kept me cool and focused. And then when I was actually taking the exam, I was trying to use meditative breathing and stuff to actually help remember stuff that I was going to add. I remember I was trying to add something by Jessica Wilson. She had what was it? I think it was an argument against Kim's causal exclusion principle, and she had a pretty cogent argument battling against it. And for some reason, I drew a blank during the comp, and I couldn't remember. And I was really trying to pull out this piece of information. I needed Wilson's what was it called? I forget what it was. It was just a really awesome argument against Kim, and and I was able to use meditative breathing, and eventually I was able to pull back that information, and I got everything written, and I passed the first time, which was great, because then I didn't have to worry about it when I was actually in taking all of my other classes and stuff like that. All right, where are we at here? I missed a bunch of stuff. It's Aristotle. You said you used to do it much more, but you'll do it especially when you're stressed. Yeah, you meditate. I mean, it's a good thing, right? I mean, science backs it up. I mean, we feel more peaceful and calm when we meditate, and if you do it, consistently, you just feel more relaxed and centered. Like, why would people not want to do that, right? especially because you don't need to do it a long time. There's this weird weird misconception out there that like it's like, oh, in order to derive benefit from a meditation, I need to go up to like a mountaintop or be sitting at like near a waterfall and be meditating in a beautiful state in nature. No, you can go in a goddamn parking lot and just like meditate for 5 minutes, and it's gonna give you benefits. You're gonna derive benefit from that. And people that do that they know this. There's a reason why so many people in the world meditate and why meditation has been around so long. It wouldn't if it didn't have some utility, if it didn't have some value, then it would have faded away like anything else that doesn't have value over time. All right, where are we at in chat? Victor Sora, you say you've been practicing meditation for over a decade. Yeah, nice. And yes, science does suggest that focused attention meditation positively influences the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which we use for executive control. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it does aid in that. I mean, I haven't read the scientific literature on it, but I'm sure there is definitely something about it because I found it so rewarding and beneficial in every area of my life. Aristotle, you say comps. Oh yeah, comps, man. Dude, that was a crazy moment in my life. So here's kind of a funny story. I was really hell bent on passing my first time. So I went in to the computer lab that we were going to be taking, doing the comps at, the night before, like right before it closed, and I sat on every single chair in the computer lab, and I found the one that was most comfortable. And I moved it, and then I tried out every computer in the computer lab, and I found the one that was like the smoothest, was seated in the best position. I had a wall right behind me as opposed to like a window where people could walk by, and so I moved that chair to that computer, and then and I tried out everything to make sure the keyboard, everything worked and perfectly on the keyboard. And then the next day I got there and 2 hours before the computer lab even opened up to make sure I would get that one chair that I wanted in that one seat. And then I got that position, and I went in to take the comp. I was really intense about passing that. I didn't want to mess around with it again. Let's see. Viper's Gratitude. You say, yo, dog, you heard you like theory of mind. So you put a theory of your mind in your mind so you can theorize my theory of mind in your mind while you theorize your theory of mind in your mind. I like it. I mean, that's actually essentially what I do, right? That you see, like you just took the words from me and put them in your mind, but I actually gave you those words so you'd think that you were putting them in my mind. I love that stuff. It's great. Victor, sure, you say, oh wow, causal exclusion is a really strong argument from Kim. It's incredibly strong. Yeah, Kim's causal exclusion principle. That's a serious thing, man. Like people don't fuck around with that. It's deterministic arguments are really strong. I'm sorry, but they're hard to. They're hard to break. They're hard to dismantle. I mean, people try all the time. I mean, you could go the new dualism route. You could go. There's plenty of moves you can make, but at the end of the day, if someone's a determinist, if someone's a hard determinist, it's kind of hard to really dismantle what they're arguing. Victor, so you say causation may be one of the deepest philosophical subjects. Yeah, absolutely. Causation is incredible. I mean, and it's in like, what do you say? What do you say when someone says, there is no free will? It's just you just think there is. People just think that there is free will, right? And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's if you're coming from a deterministic standpoint, it's kind of hard to allow for free will, right? It's kind of hard to allow for agency. I mean, there's like I said, there's moves you can make in that way too, in that area, but they just always seem to kind of require a lot of machinery, and they just don't really seem very intuitively appealing, I guess you can say, at least from my perspective. People try though. I mean, because most people don't want to believe that we don't have free will, right? We want to believe that we're agents, that we're acting of our own volition, right? We want to believe that the things we do in life are our own actions, right? I mean, and who was it? It was who was it? Moore. Moore gave a pretty compelling argument, right, for free will. He's like, he said something along the lines of, how I know there's free will? Because like this is my hand and here's me moving my hand, right? It was funny. It was like such a simple like argument, but it really it has a lot of pull to it, right? It's like fuck yeah, this is my arm. I'm gonna move my arm. I'm gonna move my finger. It seems weird to think that that would be could all be caused from the first cause, whatever that be. Maybe it's the Big Bang or whatever, whatever first cause, whatever X you want to put in there for the first cause. But at the same time, it could be, right? Every single thought in your mind could just as easily have been determined at the moment of the Big Bang or whatever first cause you have, right? It's always one of those things. But I don't know. I don't think we can really. We have no way of knowing for certain, right? It's one of those things we have no way of knowing for certain. And from what I understand, people who do believe in free will typically have better lives. They actually have happier, more joyful lives. And if you can't really determine one way or the other which way it's going to be, I say go with the way that has more utility. Go with the way that has more benefit for the individual, right? So believe there's free will. Why not? Why not believe there's free will? I mean, I don't really see a huge downside to that. I mean, it seems pretty reasonable. I guess there was one thing that I was thinking about. I was thinking that that the notion that there is free will is harmful in the sense that it makes it harder to forgive someone who's done something, who's done like a horrific act, right, or done something in poor taste, right? Because it's like, oh, why would he do that, right? Why would she do that, right? I wouldn't do that, right? But then if you think about it from the standpoint of like, well, hold on, if I had those identical genetics and I was raised in that same environment, maybe I would make that exact same choice, or like the free will thing, hey, it was all determined. It was all determined at the moment of the Big Bang, that this was going to happen like this. So he really did not have agency. And while we all think that he had agency and killed that person of his own accord, he actually doesn't have agency, or she doesn't have agency. And it's not her fault. I mean, if you get rid of the free will component, it seems easier to forgive people. And to let things go. But if you allow for free will, then it seems like it's more you're going to be more judgmental, but then again, maybe it might be good, to be more more careful in your evaluations, right? But then overall, pretty much every other reason for accepting free will seems like the better move overall, except in that one sense. All right, where are we at here in chat? Viber's gratitude. You're saying free will versus determinism is a false dichotomy. Yeah. I mean, there's stuff you can say about that. There's definitely stuff you can say about that. Aristotle, you're saying philosophers getting lost in the sauce, man. Whenever you argue about stuff divorced from behavior, you have to make an argument for why your argument changes anything in everyday life. And that's interesting. That's kind of like what Martha Nussbaum was saying. And I was telling you, I was reading her book, Therapy of Value, and she was saying something very similar to that, actually. I think you're on point. And you're right. Let me read that again. Philosophers getting lost in sauce, man. Whenever you argue about stuff divorced from behavior, you have to make an argument for why your argument changes anything in everyday life. Yeah, and you know what? It was now that thank you so much for the follow, Zinglax, much appreciated. Hey, I'm 3 followers away now, I think, from 300. Awesome, much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, the things that have to make an argument for why argument changes anything in everyday life. Yeah, Fodor actually said a cool quote. He said something along the lines of, if there is no free will, right? If my wanting to scratch my arm is not causally responsible from my thought to scratch my arm, if free will does not exist in any way, shape, or form, then you know what? It's the end of the world, and none of this matters anyway. Fodor said it's pretty much a brilliant statement, right? He's basically saying, you know what? If there is no free will, if everything that we thought throughout the history of humanity has been wrong, and we are not agents, we are not free to live in the ways we want to, and we don't have that kind of freedom, then you know what? Nothing matters, and it's the end of the world. And I kind of think that's brilliant. It's kind of like saying people who are very bearish in the stock market, who think like every minute there's going to be this huge stock market crash and everything's going to go down to zero, right? Well, you know what? If everything goes down to zero, if all of your stocks literally go down to zero, it's the fucking end of the world. It doesn't matter anyway, right? So it's like, okay, you can be a bear with doing stock market analysis, and you can like be really freaking out thinking all your stocks are going to go down and whatnot. But if it does, it's the end anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. So you might as well invest and try to make money if you can, or else it doesn't matter. All right, let's see. Herbert Smithens, you say culture controls us a lot, in your opinion. Absolutely. Oh, culture is super, super controlling. And if you look at the cultural relativistic notion, right? Like if you look at the things that are okay, that are permissible in some cultures right now, and the things that were permissible in other cultures right now, like there's quite a range of things that are permissible in one culture and not permissible in another culture, right? And then look at it over the course of time. Like the things that are permissible, right now in certain countries, like were totally, absolutely not permissible 100 years ago. And those things were definitely not permissible, a few hundred years prior to that. And you can go back all the way and see all the weird, bizarre, rituals that were the norms of cultures at given times in the course of human history, and what's the norms today, right? Victor Sor, you say, from your knowledge, the argument against free will goes with parsimony. Yeah, exactly, right? For example, if electrons and water have no free will, then why do we are made largely of water and our neurons fire electrically? Arguments for free will go for idealism. Yeah, emergence, exactly. Yeah. There's the idealist or emergence arguments. I mean, the emergence arguments, I never really found them super compelling. Or there's the new dualism arguments, like the Hasker and Lowe came out with a bunch of emergentist, new dualist arguments. They were basically trying to improve on Descartes' Cartesian dualism, and I don't really think they were successful. It just seems weird that like the sum of the parts is going to be vastly superior, and that you can somehow make some mental maneuvers so that you can actually have this agency, have this free will there. But I don't know. Some people are into it, right? If they got some traction, so that's kind of cool. Aristotle, you say, but the determinist mindset might also say that you put people down like you put dogs down. What are the chances they change? Yeah, right. That's I think that's another fair point, right? Chad guy, you say, well, watching the PC monitor. Yeah, watching in the PC monitor. Victor Sarah, you say you believe in free will, but arguing against deterministic arguments is really hard, as Agni pointed out. It is. I mean, I feel like determinists are kind of like the skeptics in that it's really, they just have like a much easier position to maintain, right? They can just say, hey, you know what? Look, everything from the moment of the first cause, that determined everything. It just set into motion a bunch of billiard balls that hit one another, and atoms smashed into other atoms, and all these things collided, and there you go. Now that's why I'm thinking the thoughts that I have in my head, right? And it's a strong argument, right? But then if you believe in things like spirituality or religion, or different idealistic philosophies or emergentism, there are moves you can make. I guess at the end of the day, it just comes down to what you believe, and that people don't like to hear that. But like, I mean, at the end of it just is. It's just whatever foundational beliefs you take into your core, into your belief set, is going to basically tell more about you than anything else, right? And so you're constantly bringing in, you have this foundational belief set, right? And then there's beliefs that stem from them and beliefs that stem from them, all the way up the tree, and then eventually you're able to perceive the world through and with a certain filter, a certain lens, right? And it's like, most people don't like to question their foundational beliefs, and the reason they don't like to question their foundational beliefs is because they're fucking afraid. They're afraid. And you know what? Maybe we should be, right? It is unsettling, and I was saying this earlier. It's goddamn unsettling to yank out beliefs from your foundation, from your core, and be like, hey, you know what? All these things that I really was pretty damn sure about, it turns out, yeah, I think I was wrong about these things. So you yank them out, and you supplant them with other beliefs, and that changes the whole structure of your belief tree, right? It's kind of amazing, but most people don't like to do that. Most people they get comfortable with a given belief set, and then they basically through psychological principles such as confirmation bias and cognitive dissonance and things like that, it kind of solidifies a given belief set, right? It's cognitive dissonance in the sense of when you hold belief X and belief not X comes your way, that's like a problem, right? So your choices are to either A, allow those two beliefs, X and not X, to fucking butt heads and have inner turmoil. B, supplant belief X with not X, resolve the tension that way. Or C, discard belief not discard not X and hold X, right? And people typically just hold X for all their beliefs, right? People typically hold on to what they believe because they're afraid to reevaluate everything, right? Because it's also a lot of work, right? If all of a sudden you decide to just reevaluate everything, I mean, it requires a lot of energy and it's a lot of time, and you might act like a fucking psychopath for a while too. All right, where are we at here? Where are we at here? Viper's gratitude. You say our best understanding of physics says that reality is an interplay between order and chaos. I'll look up how information helps us understand the fabric of reality, order and disorder spark on YouTube. Look for a great doc. Yeah, absolutely. Let me write it down. So I have a weird thing. Like if I type something on my computer, I won't remember to do it. I won't remember to check it out. But if I write it down, then I will remember. All right. Okay, cool. So yeah, now I will be able to check it out. Thank you for the post, man. Much appreciated. Interplay between order and chaos. It's funny. Some of my favorite pre-Socratic philosopher is Parmenides, actually, and he believed that nothing ever changes. It's kind of interesting, right? And he was in perfect contrast to Heraclitus, who believed that everything is changed. That is the foundational nature of reality. That change is the foundational nature, right? But yeah, order and disorder. I wonder if that kind of is in line with that. Well, I'll have to check it out and see. Victor, sir, you say, yeah, if there is no free will, then arguably we technically do not exist because we are completely dependent on external circumstances. Yeah, meaning that we are reactions to our environments. Dude. If there is no free will, like everything is the whole way we perceive everything is going to be different, right? If we accept the notion that there's no free will, the way we perceive everything is going to be totally different, right? It's going to change everything. And I don't think it's really healthy to believe that there's no free will. They've done psychological studies, and they say that people that don't believe in free will usually have like really fucked up lives. Like they have a hard time, navigating in the world because every decision they make they think is predetermined. So it just creates a weird thing. I mean, you can do mental maneuvers to get around it and function on a day-to-day basis, but I don't think it leads to promoting happiness and well-being in individuals. But that's just my personal opinion. Are there any people out there that don't believe in free will that have been able to live peaceful, happy, joyful lives? I mean, I don't know. Let's see, Chad guy, you say on the PC is like if I was looking more deeply into my soul. I don't know, man. I don't know. Different monitors, different screens, different resolutions. I was actually thinking about doing this with the light on at some point too. I always have the lights off. I have the candle light is the only lights on, but I don't know. Okay, first time chat from Zinglax. You feel the human brain is running like 1 millisecond behind, and a lot of what we experience is filled in by the brain. But you have no doubt that there are many moments in life where you are in full no latency control, and it's pure fucking free will. Yeehaw! But you couldn't live like that. You'd go insane. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's absolutely true. That's a good point, man. Thanks for chiming in and sharing. Zinglax, why would the brain run at like 100% for taking a crap? Yeah, you know what? I think you make a good point. Yeah, there's no it wouldn't be evolutionarily advantageous, right, for your brain to be like super sped up and like really focusing on like something like taking a crap, right? Because it's like that really doesn't require that much mental energy, right? It's better to conserve your energy for like other things like hunting buffalo or like protecting your fellow tribesmen from like the tribe that's trying to come over and kill you guys, right? That's probably like a better use of your energy, right? But I don't know, who knows, right? Herbert Smithens, you say, if we don't have free will, is everything we do random? If we don't have free will, is everything we do random? I mean, I guess that would determine like whether there's intention, right? I mean, there's other things you'd have to believe there too, right? Like if you believe there's some kind of like all-powerful, God or all-powerful being or some kind of source of creation that an intelligent life force, right? Then you could say that that being is actually has a divine plan, right? I've heard that said a lot of times, right? Or there are things that happen. Now, I don't think that would entail that the things you do are random. I think under those circumstances, those things would still be done, and they would be some kind of purpose, right? There would be a certain level, a certain teleology to that, right? But I don't think. I don't really know if it would be random. I think it would just be maybe we don't know about it. We might not know the reasons, right? Or there could be no reasons that it exists. Right? I think it's something slightly different, but I hear what you're saying. Zinglex, you say you think God can just control C your crap from yesterday and not miss anything. Yeah, right. I mean, and who knows? Who knows? Maybe that is the way it goes, man. Maybe we are just in a computer program, and that might be the case, right? I mean, but you know what? Maybe we're brains in the vat, right? That the computer program, the computer simulation replaced the brain in the vat thought experiment, and I'm kind of sad about that. I like the brain in the vat experiment better. I think it's more fun to think about. Let's see, Victor, sorry, you say, what's your favorite causation argument? You probably haven't read as much as you were big fans of Kim's causal inheritance theory. Well, I'll be the first to say that it's been like 6 years since I've been studying that stuff. 6 years since I was in grad school. So I'm going to have to look through my notes. Let me write myself a little note here. There were a bunch of good ones on the table. I remember causal inheritance. There were a bunch of good options on the table. I remember. But I don't want to just start like spouting off random shit because I don't really remember the arguments very well. So like I'll have to look them up and get back to you on that. But yeah, definitely there were some good ones. Viper's Gratitude, you say you'd like to ask a determinist to explain irrational numbers that continue forever without any repeating pattern, like pi. I've never actually thought about that. Determinism and irrational numbers. Hmm. I mean, couldn't you just make the maneuver and say, irrational numbers were determined? I mean, I think that's like one line you could take, right? I don't see why that would be problematic. I mean, you could probably do something like that. There's some maneuvers you can make. Chad guy, you say in Brave New World, free will was removed. Yeah, absolutely. Brave New World, right? The classic, right? Herbert Smithen's predetermined bio. I think I'm pretty far behind in chat now. All right, let me try catching up here. All right, sorry about this. I see that this happens. We get lost out of context, and then it's like you hear someone's type something in chat, and like you don't have the correct contextual clues to to put it back together, and then all of a sudden you're commenting on something that doesn't even make sense, right? Context is important, everyone. Context is very important. Tell that to the comedians out there, right? The comedians in the world. Comedians are brilliant good comedians are brilliant at understanding context, right? And they're able to take things. They're able to take content that typically could not be conveyed a lot of times because it's like gonna piss people off, or it's not gonna be funny, or for some reason or another, right? And they can take that content and and somehow insert it into a weird context where it actually does work. They're amazing at finding those moves. It's kind of like watching like a brilliant chess player. Like right now, the best chess player in the world is Magnus Carlsen, and when you watch him, like especially in some of his end games, he's able to come up with and find moves that are just so brilliant and so just foreign to what the mind would typically think. It's pretty amazing watching that. And comedians do the same thing. They're able to find amazing comedic maneuvers to get people cracking up, right? Let's see, Victor Sawyer, you say, yeah, belief in no free will associates with aversive traits such as dark tetra traits, etc. Not a fun way to live. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't really know anyone that goes around preaching that free will doesn't exist and is very, very happy all the time, or lives like has a tremendous amount of positive experiences in their life, right? But maybe I'm wrong. There probably are people that can do it. All right, so let's see. Viper's Gratitude. You say you need 100% of your brain for taking crap with your diet. That's rough, man. You need fiber. Fiber is crucial, man. Get some fiber in your diet, dude. what are you eating? Just cheese all day, dude? I had a friend that went on a cheese bender. This was crazy, right? Like, so it was me and like a bunch of people, a bunch of my buddies. We all went up to this cabin up in northern Michigan. I'm in Chicago, so this was a far trek. It was like a maybe like a 6 or 7 hour drive, right? And it's like winter, and for some reason this dude was like on this like major cheese bender, and he just kept eating cheese, like, for a few days prior to that, was just basically going all in on cheese. And we got there, and he said that he had what he felt was like a spike coming out of his anus. he and it was just like basically stuck there, and he was like miserable like half the trip. It was like ridiculous. I guess like don't do anything. Don't just eat cheese for like 3 days straight, man. You're not gonna have a good experience. And that might require some more mental energy then, right? Then you gotta figure out, you gotta do mental maneuvers to like figure out how to fix yourself, or get an enema, right? Is this good philosophy? Is this good meditation chat? I don't know. It's good philosophy chat though, I guess. Um, let's see where we at here. Zinglax, you say, no, I don't think we are in a computer program, but it's a context you can use to investigate other matters. Absolutely, yeah. And I think when philosophical arguments come out like that, right? When they provide some machinery that's actually useful for understanding other things, then I think they definitely have a lot more power to them, right? They definitely have a lot more force, and they have a lot more worth, right? When a philosophical argument comes out and it really doesn't help aid us in increasing our understanding in any way, or resolving any kind of questions or anything, and it's maybe a little interesting, but that's it. Then I feel like it's just not as significant than when it's something that can help people. I really like Martha Nussbaum's notion that she uses a medical analogy, actually, when she's referring, and that's something that's been used, I think, by Aristotle and other people, right? A medical analogy to philosophy, where like a philosopher should not be judged and solely on the basis of like how good at theorizing they are, right? A philosopher needs to be judged on the basis of how well their theories help other people, and how they can help help people overcome philosophical issues, existential crises, things like that, right? There has to be a certain level of utility in which these theories benefit humanity. Otherwise, they're just kind of speculative nonsense, right? Let's see. Zing likes to say, but no, you are not some guy who thinks we are in the Matrix. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're in the Matrix either. I mean, it's some people think so, but it's not something I believe in. Aristotle, you're gassed. You're gonna head out. Hey, thank you so much for the raid, brother. Much appreciated. Everyone here, I'm pretty sure, knows Aristotle. He is an amazing streamer on Twitch. He is a philosopher. He's got a PhD in philosophy, and he doesn't just talk about philosophy. He talks about all sorts of stuff. He'll talk about the whole spectrum. You come to him with a question, and he'll take it seriously. That's a cool thing. Assuming you're not trolling, he's gonna listen to what you have to say, and he's gonna not make you feel like an idiot. If you're like new to philosophy and like ask something that someone who has a PhD could easily make you feel dumb asking, right? He's good at making people feel important, and that's like one of his definite strengths. So check him out and drop him a follow. All right, let's see where we're at here. Vipers, you're saying, telling Aristotle, have a great night, future lawyer scum. He's going to be a lawyer, yeah, right? It's intense. A lot of philosophers, a lot of people who go into philosophy for grad school end up becoming lawyers, though. It's just one of those things, wordsmiths, right? You have to be able to argue logically, or at least convincingly. I think convincingly is more important than logically, right? Think about like what juries do, right? You want to argue convincingly, not necessarily logically. By the way, I wonder how many people out there know this. So like sophistry, right? That has like a terrible connotation associated with it, right? But think about the sophists back in ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, you were not allowed to defend yourself with an attorney. You couldn't have an attorney to defend you if you got charged of crimes. So that's actually one of the reasons why rhetoric was so important, and just being convincing in general, because you needed to be able to get up there on the stand and defend yourself if you were being charged of something. So that's actually one of the reasons. That's kind of an interesting thing. I always wonder who's interested in that kind of stuff. Zing likes to say, mistake you for some sophist. Yeah. Viper's gratitude. Did someone bring up solipsism, or is it just me? Nice one, man. Yeah. There was a like at the one of the at the school that I went to as an undergrad. On the back of the stall, someone wrote in big letters, "Solipsis Unite." Right. I mean, it's you can. There's a lot of good things you can do with that. Okay, hold on. We got a redemption. We got a redemption. Chad got redeemed. Hats off. I got to grab the hat. All right, give me 1 second. All right, here we go. Hats off. I mean, it's funny though. It's like hats off, but I put on a hat. I don't know. I guess that's just how it goes some days. Some days it's just like that. uh, Victor Star, you say, would you consider having a stream where we converse about philosophy of mind, etc. in the future stream? We could chat. Hold on. Hey, not right now. Shh. Hey, sorry about that. Uh, my cat wanted to get in on the philosophical conversation. So her name, by the way, my favorite philosopher is Parmenides, and her name is Parmenides. She's a philosopher cat. She's a really good cat. She's got a lot to say, sometimes too much to say. She's very talkative, which is great. But when you're trying to stream and when you're trying to stream meditations, it's not always good. Anyways, Victor Sor, yeah, what you're saying. So I used to talk. That was actually one of the first things I did when I came onto Twitch. I was like, I initially wasn't even doing the meditation thing. I was more about like philosophy. I was like, hey, I'm going to come on here and I didn't know of any other philosopher streamers. I was like, I'm going to be the philosopher streamer, right? So I came in and I started really going hard into philosophy of mind, philosophy of science, metaphysics. And then after a while, it just kind of evolved into a meditation stream for the most part. And I still do philosophy some days, but yeah, I mean, philosophy of mind is really an awesome subject. I also have a bachelor's in psychology, so I think that's one of the reasons why it works me up and gets me out so excited typically. But yeah, I'm down for talking philosophy of mind one day. Let me write that down actually, so I don't forget it. Yeah, I'm totally down for that. And you know what? When I do, I'll send you a message too, so you know when I'm gonna do it. I don't have anything planned yet. I feel like I feel like I can help more people with meditations though than philosophy. But maybe I'm wrong, right? I mean, and a lot of times I incorporate a lot of Eastern philosophy into my meditations. But I'm down for like if you want to do like an analytic philosophy stream. I mean, it's going to be very different, right? Because I'm out here and I'm very like. I don't know. I'm not even continental philosophy. I'm just kind of like this hodgepodge of like weird notions and beliefs. But also, I'm more focused on trying to help people, go within and explore themselves, right? Because at the end of the day, if you haven't explored yourself, like how can you expect to know anything about the world when you don't even know who you are, right? So I try to help people in that regard. But at the same time, yeah, philosophy of mind, yeah, I'm down with that. Definitely down with that. All right. See, JT, you say meow. Yeah, I know she's a wild cat. She's got a lot to say. She's always got something to say, right? She's fun, you know. I mean, she's super affectionate, super kind, super loving. She is, I think, I want to say like maybe 6 or 7 years old now. I got her when she was 2, and it was about 4 years ago. Yeah, it was just one of those things. I was like, hey, you know what? What am I doing? I don't have a cat. I don't have a cat in my life. I've always had a cat, and like usually what happens typically is the cat like, lives its life and then dies, and then I get another cat. And that's just the routine, right? And it's kind of weird, it's like I feel like I'm just supplanting, like there's like this X, right? That is equal to cat, right? And then I just keep supplanting, that placeholder with like a new cat every time one dies, and it feels weird. Like imagine if people did that like with kids, right? Like that would be weird, right? Like I don't know, but I guess our pets kind of are our kids, right? And then it's also kind of weird because each cat has its own personality. And any of you who know cats know that some cats are super like prissy, and then some cats are super aggressive, and some cats will hide under the bed all day, right? We talked about that in here before. All right, I need some more water. All right, Zinglax, you say you're excited. It's the cat brain parasite. Cat brain parasite. I don't want to hear about a cat brain parasite. I can't handle that. That's too much. We're taking a dark turn right now. Victor Star, you say, it would be cool because you have a philosophy minor and have a master's in psychology, and you have a master's in philosophy. Whereas, yeah, that is true. That is true. That's right. I forgot that, right? I forgot that you have the master's in psychology, man. That would be cool, dude. That would be cool. And I'm sure you could add a lot to it to the conversation as well. I'm sure like I could even like maybe like look up some topics and then let you know ahead of time what some cool things we could discuss. Um, lately I've been so like I don't know. I haven't been as technical lately. I haven't been really wanting to dive into the technical analytic philosophy stuff. Like there was a time where that was super important to me, where I was all about precise, clean, clear communication, and every single thing that I said was like I felt like a robot almost. I would walk into a room and I'd be like, let's see, the necessary and sufficient conditions of there being 6 people in the room as opposed to like five people are such, and I'd be like laying out like criteria. I'd be like, I'd just be communicating in a way that was it's a different language, right? It's a different language. I'm a bit out of practice, but I still can always learn that stuff and jump back into that. Hey, thank you so much, Victor Sor. Someone anonymous gifter gave you a tier 1 membership. Awesome. Thank you for that, anonymous gifter. Super appreciative for that tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. All right, awesome. Let's see. Yeah, and Victor, sorry, you say, yeah, man, we can just do a chat a bit, a Discord voice chat if you want to try that out for a bit. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm definitely down for something. So there's a couple things that I want to get in the works, and I've been telling people that I'm going to do for a while. Hey, thank you so much for the cheer. Much appreciated. So much. I've been doing that for a while. Like, I want to do a chess stream, right? Because that's literally my job. What do I do for a living? I'm a chess instructor. I play competitive chess and I teach chess, and that's so that would be something fun because that's one thing that's big on Twitch, right? People like seeing chess, right? Well, some people, right? Some people hate chess. And then so that's one thing I like. Thank you again, right, for the one bit. And then I'd say another thing I want to do is more philosophy streams, right? I want to try to. I also want to explore some areas that I don't know very well. So one area of philosophy that I am really weak on is philosophy of language. That was always like one of my toughest areas, actually. And I would love to learn more about philosophy of language. I took only one philosophy of language course in grad school, and it was intense for me. I mean, I got through it. I got an A- in the class, but I feel like it just was way over my head. But yeah, I want to explore more philosophy of language. And who wrote the book? There's Lycan. Lycan wrote some amazing stuff in philosophy of language, and he's someone I'd recommend to anyone who wants to check out philosophy of language material. I think it's Lycan. Lycan. He wrote like an undergrad book, and then he also has written a bunch of papers and stuff. He's an interesting dude. He's got some good stuff to say about phil of language. Victor, sorry, you say a chess stream would be really cool. Definitely a better stream. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's always weird to like what stuff to stream or not, right? What do people want to see? I mean, there are chess streamers like GM Hikaru, the #1 chess streamer out there. He'll have like 10,000 people watching chess, so people want to see it. There is demand. But I'm not a grandmaster. I'm not an international master, right? So it's like I would just be someone who is a club level chess player who plays and is competitive and competes and teaches it. But like I wouldn't be able to like do what he does. He'll do crazy stuff like he'll like be playing like simultaneous exhibit things where he's playing like 3 games at once, or like he'll do like stuff where he's he'll just be like talking the whole way, not even thinking about the games, and coming up with finding like checkmate and nines and weird shit like that, right? He's just so, but at the same time I think I could make it fun. Those Grace Yoga, she was doing some chess streams, and she was just learning the game. So I was actually thinking of maybe reaching out to her and see if she wanted to do like a collab at one point. I could like give her a free lesson or something like that, and we could stream it on Twitch. I think that would be kind of cool. Zing likes to say, you've heard some Chomsky on punk albums. Chomsky, yeah, right. It's funny. His name still comes around. He's still out there doing stuff. Like I don't know how old the guy is. He's got to be up there in age, but he's still up there. He's still doing stuff. It's pretty amazing. What an amazing surname, Lycan. Yeah, right. Yeah, and he's a badass in the field, Victor. Sorry, he really is. This dude, he's one of the bigwigs. In fact, I had a friend, my friend Jonathan, who I went to grad school with, went to undergrad. I think he was at Chapel Hill or somewhere in North Carolina. I can't remember where. But yeah, he went to school. He took like one class of lichens, and he liked the guy. I think he said he was pretty cool, and he met him in person. Yeah, he's one of the big names in the field though. Yeah, and it's funny though. Like philosophy, I feel like philosophy of language people are built differently. That's one thing you learn when you go to grad school. Like the ethicists, the people who are into ethics are like tend to be very different than the people who are into like philosophy of science. It's like the way their minds work. It's just like they're just totally different. And the people that are into philosophy of science are like very different than the people who are into like aesthetics, right? Or like and then the people, people that are into there's like weird, and then there's some overlap, obviously, right? People who are into epistemology, tend to be good at logic, right? They tend to be pretty proficient at logic, right? It's another thing to consider. All right. Let's see. Victor, so you said had your first move in chess.com recently against a 2100. Almost won the game, but the time controls were too fast. Yeah, dude, 2100s are no joke. Those guys can play. You gotta be on. You gotta be really on if you're gonna be a 2100. So my thing with chess is I am really good at slow time controls. Like the slower the game, the higher my rating goes. The higher my rating will go up to. I think the highest I ever had my rating was 2012, and that was like when I was moving real slow and taking a lot of time to think about all my moves. And then with like 30-minute games, my rating goes down, and then when you get down below 10 minutes, like my rating drops again. And then like when you get to like bullet chess, like 1-minute games, oh, I suck. I really suck. I could lose to like a 1300 in bullet chess. I mean, it's a joke. Just I the thing I like about chess, longer time controls, is that you can find that best move, right? I don't like being pressured to like play a move that's like adequate or like decent or like fairly good but not great. I'd rather like spend the extra time and be able to find like that best move. So I think that's one of the reasons why I don't like shorter time controls. Uh, but yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. That's cool. You're on chess.com. I was actually thinking of playing in the Chicago Open this year. It's like typically one of the biggest tournaments in the Midwest every year, and I've played that tournament 3 years before. First year I played, I tied for second in my division, then moved up to a tougher division, tied for third, moved up to a tougher division, then I tied for fourth the last year I played. And it's a great experience. I think it's going to be happening in at the Westin. They're going to throw it at the Westin typically. That's where they're having it this year, I think. And it's a nice tournament. There's decent money prizes. I think you win certain divisions. You can pull in like 5-10 grand. It's a cool experience. Those of you who've never played competitive chess, I would recommend just checking out like an exhibit, a big event, right? Just checking out like that competitive chess. It's amazing because you go to an NBA game and you're like you pay like hundreds of dollars and you're like way back, away from the action. But at the big chess events, you can be like right next to some top grandmasters. You're like literally standing there watching them play, and you're like they're like 5 feet from you, and like no one else is even there. It's crazy. It's like, oh, this guy's ranked like 25 in the world, and I'm like standing right here, and I can like hear him breathing, and like I'm like listening. I'm like watching his every move. I'm watching his posture. I'm watching him write the moves down or whatever, the notation. It's amazing. It's amazing how you can get so close to the action because there's not as big of a fan base for chess as there is obviously for like the NBA or something like that. Victor, sir, you say you would have never thought that philosophy of language was so big. It intrigues you because you don't see the depth in it, which probably means you're missing subtlety. You probably would have gravitated towards epistemology if you were in a master's of philosophy program. Yeah, epistemology is cool. It's one of the areas though that I'm also weak in. I barely took any epistemology. I mean, it's funny. Like it seems like you can do two things in grad school. You can kind of focus on like a few areas and go for depth, or you can go for breadth. And I chose to just focus on philosophy of mind, philosophy of science, and metaphysics. And those were like the three areas that really inspired me and that I was really intrigued upon. And the other areas like I still loved, but I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the resources to run through all that stuff. Yeah. All right. Maybe we should end the stream. That's kind kind of a weird way to end the stream. I mean, but it's kind of funny, right? You know, maybe we should just end the stream, right? Just do it like that. I don't know. I feel like I've been talking. I feel like I've been talking forever, and I don't know. Maybe it's about that time. All right, let's see who's out there. Let's see who we're gonna raid. All right. Any suggestions? Does anyone have any suggestions of who we're gonna raid? All right. Thank you so much, Victor Sword. Great stream as always, much appreciated. Oh, all right. Let's see. Hey, One Sluggy is streaming again. This could be pretty cool. He's someone who comes around every now and then. He's a good dude, a really authentic guy. He's streaming 7 Days to Die. Yeah, I think we can go that route. We'll give him a raid. We'll send some love his way. Okay. All right. So thank you all so much for hanging out. Let's send One Sluggy some love, and yeah, everyone come back, check it out. You know, if you're into meditation, if you want to meditate and just talk about philosophy, you know, do some philosophy, you know, that's why we're here. And namaste to all of you. Peace be with you as well.